Pizza guys of Reddit, what's the strangest thing you've seen when delivering pizzas? Customer paid with a card and he had instructions to leave the pizza on a bench in a public area. Drop it off and quickly leave the area. I left but pulled on a side street where I could see the bench. I wait probably close to 5 minutes and then I see a man bust out of a dilapidated building I thought was empty. He runs up and grabs the pizza, he spins a whole 360 degrees and he is glancing in every direction as if he was afraid he was being watched. Then he hurries back to the place and when he gets to the door he sees me and his eyes get huge and wide, paranoid and fearful. He slammed the door shut. I just think he was tweaking or something wouldn't be out of the ordinary around here. A long time ago I was delivering pizza for a very large Toronto-based chain as my regular employer was on strike. Every night at pretty much the same time one guy would order pizza for delivery with very specific instructions to deliver to the side garage door and absolutely never to the front door. Guy was always super nice and tipped $10 cash, good tip money in 1983. One night after the usual transaction he asked if I wanted to do him a favor and make some extra money. Oh, here it comes, he wants me to pick up some drugs for him or who knows what else. Probably seeing my reaction he said, "It's nothing bad, I was just wondering if you could take a few old pizza boxes back and throw them out for me. My wife may be starting to catch on." He let me into the garage. Holy hell, he had more pizza boxes than we had in our store. Almost half of a double-car garage full. IDK if he was trying to fool his wife or partner, but this is something you couldn't really hide. Together we crammed my hatchback with as many as we possibly could twist and cram in. He gave me another $20 and thanked me. Unfortunately, I never saw him again, but other drivers didn't. In the space of a few weeks they were almost all gone. Funny I had forgotten that until you/Messy David's comment. Was delivering to a hotel, had a guy pass out on me 3 separate times in a 10-minute encounter. Apparently he was narcoleptic, but it still scared the crap out of me. Narcoleptic here. He was probably having a cataplexy attack. We don't actually pass out, we're still conscious but we lose control over our muscles so we look passed out. There's also the scenario where it's only partial, then it looks like a seizure because we try to move only to cause spasms. It's triggered by emotion so he probably got nervous or something. He was too excited for the pizza. I have a friend kind of like this. Whenever he gets to pick the shows he'll put on his favorite movie or episode of some kind and always seems to knock himself out early on. We started joking that he gets so excited he wears himself out and needs to take a nap. I'll have to look for it, but there was a podcast, either an episode of This American Life or TED Radio Hour, about a guy who would pass out/seize up if he felt too much affection. During the interview he had one of these episodes by simply talking about attending his brother's wedding. I delivered to a hotel in the middle of a local golf course. Called the number to let them know I was there and was told to come on up. Get to the room, and when the guy answered, there was a large group of guys, all in golf attire, surrounding a single guy in a chair. He was bound and blindfolded. The one that answered didn't even bat an eye, just asked how much and tipped me $30 Warily I took the money and walked away, but before the door was fully closed, I heard one of the guys ask, "I wonder if he knows this is a..." Before I even left the parking lot, the guy that answered the door called me to say that the bound guy was his brother and he was bound and blindfolded because it's his bachelor party and the stripper was waiting to come out. I just showed up way earlier than they thought I would. I like how you minded your business and took the money like a true professional. I like how you minded your business and took the money like a true professional. Some dude opened the apartment door completely naked. I was stunned, but what came after that made me ask myself, is he some kind of fucking magician? He put a hand behind his back and pulled a wallet. Only reasonable explanation I could give myself was that he tucked the wallet between his butt cheeks. Quite the power move tbh. I was delivering a pizza to this house in a pretty rough neighborhood. These 3 colos answered the door, and when the one guy stepped back to get the money I noticed huge amounts of money, and so much meth and enough weed to kill Snoop Dogg and around 20 guns. I was so scared. He gave me a tip of $20 cash and told me not to tell anyone. Hopefully they aren't Redditors. Just simply coming up and there were 3 guys in underwear waiting for me. Handing the pizzas over and more just start coming out in underwear, and these were also wearing cowboy hats and native headdresses, some kind of bro Halloween party or something. Got to grab my tip out of the dude's bra. It was funny as hell, but when I left the building I had to process for a moment what the hell happened. Probably just the casting call for the new Village People reboot. Yo man, there's no need to feel down. I had 2 teenage girls open the door in their underwear, as a joke I guess. They were probably 16 or something. They think it's funny, but I had to report it to my manager and hope nothing came of it. I was like 20 at the time. Something similar happened to me recently, except with a younger girl. This lesbian couple lives in my apartment complex with a 12-year-old. They'd often leave her home alone and she'd come knocking on my door asking to use my cell phone to call them. Apparently, they didn't trust her with a cell phone and they didn't trust her with access to the Wi-Fi when they weren't home. It was annoying, but I didn't think much of it, until one night she showed up wearing a bathrobe. She wasn't locked out, so it didn't make sense for her to not put on clothes to come knock. She came back like 3 times that night. The last time her robe kind of came open, she wasn't wearing a bra, and she didn't really try to fix it. After that I didn't answer the door for her anymore. I asked a female friend to come over the next night to answer the door for me. She told her that we wouldn't be letting her use our phones anymore until her parents came and told us that's what they wanted. She offered to ask them for her. The girl never came back to my door again after that. I have no idea what the fuck was going on or who she was calling on my phone, but I was paranoid Chris Hansen would be coming to visit me any day. Several years ago I was working in a sales job that attracted some of the more rough and tumble members of society. I was working on a sale to a guy who was a member of the Hells Angels. Nice guy, very polite, but you know, I didn't want to get on his bad side, because of the implication. At one point he was in the office and he had brought his wife and 2 kids. I greeted them all, shook all their hands, and I noticed that his daughter was kind of giving me a look. Now I can be a little oblivious, but I'm not an idiot. I know the look. I decided to just move past it and continue on with our business. Things were taking a while, so the whole family was camped out in the waiting area and would occasionally get up and wander around. At one point, the daughter came into my personal office, fairly small, and sat down across from me and started making small talk. This girl is very attractive and is wearing a very short dress. She keeps crossing and uncrossing her legs and leaning over my desk towards me, so I tried to concentrate on my computer screen and just barely maintained a conversation with her in hopes that she would go away. She ended up mentioning that her dad was going to buy her a car soon because in a few months she would be taking her driver's ed course, which in my state is at age 14.5. At this point I decided to get up and do my work elsewhere. Several hours later we had concluded our business and the family was leaving. Daughter tried to hug me, but I shook her hand and moved on to someone else. My boss came in to see me and he said, "Who is that girl?" I explained the whole family dynamic to him, and he said that apparently she had been groping herself and pressing her chest against the window to his office. She tried to add me on Snapchat later that day. Some guy ordered a large pep pizza. When I got to the house he wasn't there, so I called him out. He told me he was in the bathroom taking a shit and I had to wait 18-ish minutes to get my pay. Shoulda taxed him a slice or 2 for the wait. Lol, I wouldn't even be mad if he really waited 18 minutes for me to answer the door. I was picking up some weed a few weeks ago thinking I had time before the pizza got there, but got caught in traffic. He called me like 5 minutes before I got home, so I told him I was picking up some bud and would give him a hit and a slice if he just chilled for a few minutes. He was happy to oblige. You are an unsung hero and a good human being. Bless. Just the other day showed up to a house to be greeted by 2 guys, about 25, on the roof in underwear, clearly ecstatic about the pizza being delivered. "Did you Walter White the pizza up there? Yeets the pizza up to the roof. How much do I owe you?" "That's alright, this one's on the house." Edit. "Hey. Thanks guys, Badum TSSS. Had someone answer the door once with a snake on his shoulders. Not like a milk snake or a garter, but a ball python. Probably about 6 feet long. As he closed the door I heard him say to someone that I hadn't reacted at all. Lol. Sounded so disappointed. Edit. To clarify, this was almost a year ago. I am not a snake expert, so it is quite possible I misidentified the species. Thanks to those who pointed out my mistake. Was it a rental snake? Red next to black, jump the fuck back. I heard the rhyme as black on yellow, don't fuck with snakes. Red on black, don't fuck with snakes. I once delivered a pizza late at night. The person who took the call told me that the person who ordered, let's call him Mark, was an old man and may take a while to get to the door. I get to the house and all the lights are off, no car in the driveway. I ring the doorbell, no answer. I knock on the door, no answer. I call the person's phone, no answer. Call again, still nothing. At this point I had waited for about 15 minutes for this person and was walking back to my car to leave, when I hear the front door open, so I go back. Again, there aren't any lights on, so I can only see the head of a young woman peek from behind the door, and she refuses to open it all the way, even to take the pizza. I then hear another woman behind her saying who cares if he sees, open the door, so she opens it a little more to sign the receipt. She couldn't see, so I offer to shine my phone's flashlight so she can sign the receipt. I then realized that both of these women are naked. Me being the good employee, I was averted my eyes as she signed the receipt, and I start walking back to my car. As I was walking away, one of the women yells to me, "Have a good night, you know Mark is." And I burst into laughter as I had totally forgot that this was the house of an elderly man. Mark can't come to the door, he's tied up. I was delivering a pizza to a high-rise once on a Saturday night. Got in the elevator and there was a guy dressed like a pimp who tried to buy my pizza for me that I was about to deliver. He didn't even ask what kind or what size, he just pulled out a $100 bill and said I'd buy that for $100, and I politely turned him down, so he pulled out another $100 and offered me $200. I told him I could get fired. Man, that was hard to turn down. Here's where things get totally fucked up. When I get to the door of the guy I am delivering it to, he opens the door and is dressed like a pimp also, like, huge colorful jacket, and he grabs the pizza and gives me a $100 bill and shuts the door. Pizza was about $35, so a $65 tip. TLDR, got the biggest tip of my life from a guy dressed like a pimp just seconds after turning down the biggest bribe of my life from another guy dressed like a pimp. Pimp friends were definitely testing the loyalty of their local pizza store. I hope you all enjoyed the video. If you have a similar story, share it in the comments below. Be sure to like and subscribe for more. Have a great day, or night.